Oh, yeah. It's live. All right, everyone, say hello to the internet.
Hey, Internet.
All right, and today's show we're going to be talking about the afterlife. I know people are scared of dying. As long like as though you have to tumble through all the dark tunnels and meet your inner demons in order to see all that. But like seriously, can anyone give us an idea of what does the afterlife look like? To those who have like near-death experience or after out-body experience, like just give us like a
Mm.
vivid imagery of what it looks like.
Hmm.
And silence.
No vivid anything. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I don't think we're meant to remember. There are people that do remember. I think it takes our focus away from the now. So there's a reason for that. But what about you guys?
Well, I did hear about, I guess it would be an analogy of, of a person saying, well, what if you could take like a video camera into the womb of a woman that's soon to be pregnant, and then then the baby starts forming, and eventually it turns and looks at you, and it's keeping you company and stuff, and then all of a sudden all this liquid just flows out, and the baby's going. It's like, oh, it died, but it was born in another life, in our life. So by the perception of the person who was in the womb, yeah, the baby died, but by the mother and father that's having the child, it was just born.
You know, that's what really got me really questioning is like, to what extent is that a parent really think that the child is born instead of it's just coming to live with someone else? It's like as though we just become we're all homeless people, you know. We're just seeking a home to live in. That's all we are. We just need a host, so that way we can learn who we are, so that way we can get home.
But
A
is it really
host.
a home, or is it a journey?
In fact, this body is just really our temporary home, and yet people are like telling us we're born, we're home again, and it's like I don't feel like I'm home at all because I feel like this is not my home, especially this body here. Somebody is mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard me or not. It might have cut out, but I was saying, is this really a home, or is it just a journey?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out is whether or not is this place is this life a home or not. Because the thing is there are some like mystery traditions. They say that that this is our home. We just come to that realization that we are, so
Kind
that
of,
way we can like move up to the so that way we can like merge with this
kind of.
so-called home that we have.
It kind of gives a profound meaning to home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
The other thing is that so many people ask like, of course the afterlife is that we are just basically coming back to this very world that we have been searching for, which we call heaven or hell or how you call it. But somehow it's like we have that feeling that the afterlife is something far beyond our imagination.
Can you guys hear me?
So yeah, like I wonder, what do you guys? I can hear you, but like, can you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Mm. Like
But
5 minutes
like,
later.
do you guys have any idea? Like, do you guys
No,
have
I
any
remember
idea
being inside
about
my mother's womb.
how this life is also a home to us?
No, I'm like
Because the thing
so
is,
delayed.
like
I think
when
like I'm
I
like
first read
five
about the
seconds delayed.
afterlife, like here's what really amazed me the most. It's like when we were talking about enlightenment, or when we talking about like reaching that highest state of bliss where we call home, we had to like go through all those rituals and rites in order to be able to reach that so-called afterlife in a proper way. However, I found out that this is not. I found out that these rituals sometimes don't always mean everything. Because if we still remember our way, then how come we need all those rituals for? You know? Like in Tibetan Buddhist, we had to read the Tibetan Book of the Dead to our fellow dead people, or whoever is dying.
Hmm. That's weird.
Well, I would say
Actually, the
something, but I don't know
Mormons
if you
have
guys
got
can hear me.
something like that.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think I'm on a delay though. You guys
Can you
hear me
guys
like
hear
a
me
couple
okay?
seconds after.
I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, like for example, let me just say some of my ancestry here. Aztecs, that's what they call them, but they call them Mexica. Okay, so what we believe in is that when we die, there's 7 layers to the center of the earth, and that's how I translate it. But there's seven layers to the center of the earth. There's like a layer where you fight jaguars, and it's just all symbolic, I think. But when you get to the center, you get to reincarnate, or you either go somewhere else, depending on what stage you are at. Let's just say that. But there's like, actually, I'm going to go ahead and upload some of the stuff. But there's a lot of thing with the Egyptians, the dead, and the Book of the Dead, and all that. But if we look back and study some of the ancient knowledge about the afterlife and their beliefs, I think that we can learn a lot about it. I mean, I don't really haven't studied it in detail because, like I said, I believe that kind of distracts us from our present being here in the now, to always be thinking about what's going to happen afterwards. I mean, it takes away from the now, so that's why I don't pursue that. But I mean, if we look into some of the wisdom schools and their knowledge and their teachings, we can learn a lot about how everything actually connects. There may be a different symbology in the Book of the Dead compared to my ancestors' books, but it makes a lot of sense. Reincarnation, I mean, let's talk about that. Reincarnation, I mean, that makes sense to me. I have some memories of past life. Went through a past life regression session recently, and I remembered 4 of my past lives through that. So reincarnation, I mean, afterlife, what is the afterlife? What does that involve? And do we keep living? I mean, heaven, hell, all this other concepts that we have about the afterlife. Are they just concepts, or I mean, do we imagine? Do we create the afterlife? I mean, like, when we die, what we believe, does that become reality? Like, if a person that's Christian, they believe they're going to go to heaven. So, do they really go to heaven? What is heaven? Do we create that? I mean, have you guys ever seen that movie? What Dreams May Come, I believe that's what it's called. Robin Williams is in it.
Yeah.
I mean, like that. That's what I believe. Like, we create our own reality, right? So, when we die, is that something that we create the afterlife? And that's my piece.
That's what really got me interesting about reincarnation. Because seriously, like, here's what's funny. that I found out about people who remember reincarnation is, and by the way, hey Rex, like, here's the funny thing, is that when people say that reincarnation is almost like as though your ego or your eternal self
What's up?
persists beyond death, and I was like, if that's so, then is it possible that every single one of us should be able to remember our past life? Like, I mean, seriously, like I've seen some people who just don't seem to remember, but there are some who do. So I'm asking, like, does anyone
Well,
here, even the audience, like,
what past lives do you remember besides?
uh, well, here's the thing: is that I don't know if I even should call this a past life, but I remember the last time when I have my past life is like I remember recalling me as a Viking soldier where I used to kill like a whole army of people in just like in one fight. That's who I was back in the old days. But then I was like, after that moment where I just so-called died, I reincarnated, and somehow I remember another past life of mine where I was once a yogi. So therefore, like, do you
I'm
guys have
totally losing you
any
guys.
idea? Like, do you guys have any idea about like what does remembering your past life have to do with our current life, for example? Like, how do we act according to what we are back in the old days?
Like we're here to learn something now. Like we need to be present, you know, not the before or the after. That's what I believe. I mean, now it's
Yeah, because like a
interesting
lot of
knowing
people.
knowing certain things, but I mean, you know, we shouldn't get too distracted with the present moment.
Hey Rex, can you like stop moving your laptop because it seems like it's making noises over here.
Yeah, my connection's kind of not good right now.
Like who, like that's the thing about so many people. Like when we go through hypnosis and everything, or we're going to a psychologist, we always there's some clients that the psychologists do remember or recall that they saw their clients be able to recall past lives to the point where they can be able to envision themselves in that moment. But the thing is I wonder what does your past life has something to do with yourself today? Because honestly, I personally cannot like honestly I cannot even imagine why in the world do people have to dig up people's past in order to help someone. Does anyone have any ideas?
Peace.
Hey, Michael. Hey, dude.
Hey,
Here's
how's it going, everybody?
hey, here's something that I want to ask the audience and even people here on the live chat is about like reincarnation. I believe you have something to say about this because seriously, when I went through
Reincarnation.
psychotherapy, yeah, like seriously, even in Sigmund Freud, he
Sigmund
uses
Freud.
he uses psychoanalysis in such a way that he tries to analyze people, but somehow when we use hypnosis, it always some of them some clients can be able to bring up past lives, you know. When in reality,
Yeah,
looking
I
over
mean,
somebody's past doesn't really matter. The problem is still there.
I mean, um, I think one of the great things that you can do, I mean, not everybody necessarily has past lives, but I think one of the great things that you can do is to clear karma from any previous lives. I believe that's why a lot of us are here, and to help the planet.
But like, here's the concern: is that does it when we actually like try to clear our karma, does it really that necessary to try to remember our past lives and how we actually make our lives in order to clear
I
it
think
up?
what the thing is basically like you are the being that you are now, that you've incarnated into, but all the things that you learned from previous lives, say for example, like when I got my Akashic Records reading, it said that I worked with Sigmund Freud and all these certain things, but what can it spark in me now to create something new? And so, like, when you use these to your benefit, in other words, if I was a psychologist in a previous life and I took a psychology class now and I could just accelerate at it because I already know all this shit, this is the way that it can help, you know?
Yeah, in fact, that I do believe that past life do have a use where you're gonna learn new things out of it. But then the thing is some to what
It's just
extent is it
integrating all the different lives into who you are now. That's what I feel. Like, integrating all the different lives that you are, or that you were, and understanding how you are now, how you got to be here. You don't have to be under the amnesia that, like, you know, like nothing happened before, but you don't want to live like, you don't need to live like, say, if you lived in, you know, you were a Native American back then, and now you need to act like a Native American because you were one. Bonnie!
Hey, Bonnie.
Hey, Bonnie.
Hi! How's it going?
Hey,
Hello!
I recognize that background picture.
Oh yeah, this one.
Yes.
Or this one.
Came in
I used to,
just a couple seconds.
Wrong.
you know, I hate to break the fun, but like I remember coming to your house.
I remember that too.
Yeah, and all the long drives and everything. Oh wow.
It must have been a long drive. It was, yeah. Next time we'll plan it a little better.
You know, today is just totally amazing because seriously, this is why I brought up the issue of past life, and because so many people nowadays are asking about what their past lives looks like, when in reality, it doesn't really matter, because
Well, it can matter.
Well, it can, but the thing is if you're just digging up your own crap, then you're basically just wasting your time, you know?
Well, it just depends. I mean, there's a purpose in going through all that, so you can try and remember, you know, who you were. Like, for instance, like, say like Doreen Virtue, she had all these previous lives. She said she had one with Ivan the Terrible, where she was a doctor, and Ivan the Terrible, like confiscating all these medical supplies, so a lot of her patients died, and it was a traumatic life for her. So having that karma, or having that in her past lives, she would need to clear that to kind of figure out why she feels this way towards certain things.
Right.
And your previous lives, what you were in a previous life, can help you find out what you're going to be in this life. You know, that's what I feel.
I think it can be either beneficial or against you, because what if you were thrown into a past life where you didn't learn what you needed to, you know, and then you have to deal with that in this one, which is fine, but are you ready for it?
Mhm.
Yeah, like for the
Bonnie?
that's the funny thing is
Yeah,
when
I got a mic.
Bonnie in real life! Or like your voice. I can hear you.
yeah, he sounds like a
More
20-year-old.
than words now on a computer. Just kidding. I mean, you were more than that before, but you know, when people
I
come
just
on,
realized that.
when you can talk to them. I think we ran Rex off. I didn't even get a chance to say hi.
Well, that's
Um,
because Rex is having problems with the microphone over there, so that's pretty obvious. He'll get back on.
oh, okay. What were you saying, Andy? Did we do a check-in? Did everybody introduce themselves yet?
Oh,
Nope.
you didn't
Nope.
you
You
didn't come in on
completely
time,
forgot
so
about
yeah.
it.
Should
Everybody completely forgot about it.
Should we do one? I mean, it could
Okay.
help the dynamic.
Yeah, sure. And
Yeah.
since today we're talking about the afterlife, let's go around the room, introduce ourselves, and talk about some of our most memorable past life experience.
Let's be
I have
social,
a
man.
perspective I want to talk about, but I'll bring it up at some point here.
It just
Okay. So I'm Bonnie. I facilitate meditation and do a whole bunch of other things. And let's see, what are we saying? Oh, how our week was, maybe. And we should keep it like short so that we can like get to the conversation, you know. And I'm not doing a good example right now, but my week was good. I got back to the gym. It was really nice, and I can't wait to go back again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Okay, someone else's turn.
Yay.
well, tell us about what is your most memorable past life experience if you happen to have one.
I don't know that I have a past life experience. Like I've done this toning thing that Be Divine on her YouTube channel she puts up, and it's like 10 different sounds to make to decalcify your pineal gland, and also supposed to like kind of attune you and therefore like help you maybe reconcile anything that had happened to you in a past life or whatever. And I did all 10 on the video. And I can hear myself echoing.
You're getting feedback.
I should find my
Aaron?
headphones.
It's feedback.
Okay, that solves the problem then.
I could find my headphones real quick.
Attune.
I know where they are.
Attune. Please attune.
Okay, I'll just finish the story, which is that. So that night when I went to sleep, I did have like weird lucid dreams where I woke up and I was still in my room, but there was like other people in my room, and I feel like it might have been like, I don't know, maybe seeing situations from a past life, but it was definitely not like apparent to me what was going on exactly, but it seemed like people I knew and that I was familiar with. I don't know. So no.
Right.
I guess
I mean,
I haven't.
there are people that haven't been here before, you know. So I mean, not everybody, but I'm pretty sure you have a past life, Bonnie.
Yeah. So, but we
But
can
I'm
go
only
around
good
and
now.
everyone can introduce themselves, and then I do have a story to share that's more of like a death perspectives dream story that came to me one night, but we'll get to that later. So, who wants to introduce themselves next?
Well, that's fairly short, so I'll do mine.
Yeah. Keep
This is Tony. Yes, I actually have a voice, believe it or not. I pretty much identify with Native American. I'm a Cherokee, Comanche, Irish, Dutch, and yeah, I think in a past life I might have been that because I've always had that shamanic feeling. But whether or not there's, I had never really gone into any past, whatever they call it, past regression or anything like of that nature. But yeah, for the most part, that's pretty much the sum of it. I have something to do with strategy, like military strategy, but I don't know exactly what it is or where it comes from.
You
That's
can say
pretty
Army
much
Strong
it.
for that one.
Uh-huh.
Because I used to.
There are corporate shamans.
It's totally fine to be a warrior because seriously, I'm also one of those military people also back in the old days.
It's okay to be a unicorn.
If you're like Irish, part Irish, then I'm actually my past life is actually a Viking, so I used to kill people a lot.
Oh no.
Yeah, Michael, 50 Cent will vouch for that unicorn thing.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Okay.
Michael.
Who would like to Michael? Thank you, Tony.
Yes.
Thanks, Tony. Come on, Michael, speak up.
Okay. My name is Michael Pratt. Have a strong connection with Sigmund Freud, and I like fairies and other worldly things. And I have a tiny attention span. What were the questions?
That was good.
The question was, the question was about your past life. Like, what experience do you have with it?
In the previous life, from what I know, in my most previous life, I worked in Vienna, which is like basically Sigmund Freud had a circle of the people that he trusted, and he had like a ring made for all of them. And I worked with Sigmund Freud and possibly Carl Jung, and also Dr. Joseph Brewer. And I did many sessions like with hypnotism, and I guess I was like a what they call a doctor, like a psychologist, and that was my most previous life, and then I had two before that.
All right, since there's somebody named Aaron is turning on his microphone or something, can you please introduce yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, but I can also hear
Okay.
myself on your end.
Oh, really? That's
Hey,
great.
Aaron.
I don't even know how I ended up on this thing, but this is cool.
Oh, hey. Welcome to the crew, man.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
It was Facebook link somehow got me. I just clicked the button and here I am. So.
Well, feel free to join the party because we're actually starting about the afterlife. We need some new people to build up the perspective here.
Awesome. Is it still echoing or are you good?
Yes.
Good. All right. Well, I'm Aaron, and I'm going through the awakening. It's a fun process. You guys have gone through, or you're about to go through, or whatever. Pretty interesting. I'm a massage therapist by trade, so I've been doing that for 7 years. So I'm in the healing profession, and right now I'm going through a lot of the spiritual awakening symptoms that have been both rewarding and very difficult to get through.
Yeah, man.
So I kind of stumbled on. Yeah, it's at the end it'll all come through, but it's pretty difficult.
Yeah. No, I definitely know what you mean, man.
What's difficult?
Well, for me, at least the ascension process, the awakening, where you actually get. Well, I mean, everybody has their own experiences with it. I got pretty deep into mine emotionally, but it was a time, needed to, I suppose, elevate to the next level. And I'm starting to see the light.
Sweet.
Isn't it interesting how it really is going to people?
Mhm.
I'm gonna go. I think it's better with the echo. Grab my headphones.
You get an echo still?
Yeah, I can still do it over here.
Yeah, when anybody else is talking besides you, Aaron, there's an echo.
No, I got no echo.
Yep. It's kind of cool, though. Hello!
Wonder why.
Sounds like as though I'm talking in the dark.
I had the volume down all very low. I wonder why.
Hmm.
Okay, well, I don't hear an echo anymore, so that helps.
Okay, I have the volume down pretty low. Maybe the trick is headphones.
Yeah, I think it is with Google Hangouts. I'm hacking.
You know,
Google Hangouts.
Aaron, that's what really got me interesting about like some people like you is that you went through a spiritual awakening, but somehow like what are we awakening to?
What did you say was the question?
Like what are we awakening to?
Right. Well, we're supposedly awakening to another dimension. We live in a three-dimensional world, and we're supposedly awakening into the fourth and fifth and sixth and you know.
Higher
down
density
after.
levels.
What did you say?
Higher density levels.
It's
Yeah.
actually lesser density, isn't it?
Guys, someone has to be
yeah.
less density, otherwise like we'll be falling down to hell.
Okay, yeah, that's right, actually. That's fine,
We are
yeah.
now.
Less density.
Higher vibration, lesser density. He was close.
But like that's what got me curious is like how do you ascend to the higher dimensions? Because the thing is we're still stuck in this 3D body right here,
Mm-hmm.
and
Like-
sometimes we barely even have the chance to experience the beyond.
I was gonna say, like, if you're like really clairsentient, like you feel things, you can go in certain places, like say, like a hospital, or just certain places where you know that like the energy, there may have been anger, there may have been sadness in that room, and you can feel it like a heavy. It's like a heavy, dense feeling. I don't know if any of you have ever felt that, but it's just like it makes you want to leave the room.
You know, that's what really got me interested about how people at the hospital, how they act, you know. It's like, whenever I walk in, I feel like I'm not going to recover. There's no chance of me getting out of the hospital.
I don't like the feel of it.
Like,
It's like
seriously,
a really dense feeling. It's like a the way I can describe it.
no, like, yeah, I have to agree with you, but like, what is it?
Maybe because they sanitize it so much, there's an emptiness there.
True.
Somewhat, but like something even much heavier. Do you ever had that moment where you're feeling like you're running for your life and you're like living in hell? You don't even know when will you die or when will you live, but like your eyes are living your mind.
At the hospital?
Oh yeah, that happens a lot. In fact, I remember I've been hospitalized twice because I was having an ear infection. I don't even know if I ever have a chance to recover.
Oh.
Andy, do you have too many windows open?
Oh, I always leave my doors and windows open.
No, I mean like computer windows. Like,
I hear echo.
yeah, because sometimes
Oh.
when the person who's hosting it has too many windows open.
Not my end.
Let me try to mute my speaker again and tell me if you hear an echo. For some reason, maybe it's me. Hold on.
Sure. And it's solved.
Aaron, is that your name? Like, what is, Aaron, yeah.
I don't understand
okay.
why. I have my volume down to 2.
Huh. Well, you can still, like, try it now. It seems to be okay now. So, anyway, maybe if it starts echoing, you can just mute yourself until you have something you want to say, and then you can unmute.
Okay. Yeah.
But for now, it seems fine. Well, let's see. Okay, I was thinking we were talking about death tonight, but I guess I understand how that could
Death
be
is such a
related
sexy subject.
to
You know, talking about the hospital is also just as yeah, it's just as therapeutic and like helping out with knowing what death is. Because seriously, think about it. So many people I found out they die in hospitals.
Wait, not everyone got to do the introduction. Did Luna do an
But that's not a
introduction?
sexy death.
Go for it, Luna.
Luna,
Because
did you get an introduction yet?
just type it on the group chat. Because the
No,
thing
she
is
hasn't gotten a chance to talk. Everybody has to do an introduction.
yeah, I just opened it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can
never
you
mind.
guys hear me? Because I'm having problems with my Wi-Fi.
I
It's
can hear
okay.
you.
I can
I'm
hear
clear.
you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm
I'm
Luna.
clear.
I'm Luna. I'm a holistic health student. I live in North Carolina, and I just got out of a bad relationship. I'm just freshly out of that. Got my own place, and I don't know.
Yay!
Trying to get a
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It sounds like you had an alright week.
It's better now. Wednesday was tough for me, but
Oh.
it's
I
better.
feel like
Were
you're
you
actually.
were you the girl in there like I'd randomly chime in and play a Zelda song?
No.
Oh,
That was actually Kayla, but I don't know where is she right now.
Oh, okay, wrong person.
Yeah, we should. Okay. Okay. So everybody's gotten an introduction time. Okay.
Yup.
Now we can now
Talk
go to
about the deathbed.
Okay. So do you want to hear or do you have something you want to talk about, Andy? Or
So he was
Oh,
talking
please.
about the hospital, I think.
Yeah, talk about the hospital because so many people I've known of either most of them died in the hospital in my life.
Mhm.
Even that includes my grandfather who recently died of colon cancer. Like it only took him 5 days to like let the colon cancer took his life. I mean, like seriously, what did they feed him?
Yeah. I mean, but it's really. I mean, sometimes it's spiritually related, but a lot of it, I believe, is cause and effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when you look at the Western diet, like
Because
there's
they don't-
dye in there.
Because they don't want cures, they just use treatments.
Exactly. And at least from what I see, the Western concept wants to suppress everything with a pill or some magical, antidote or something, as far as medicine. But I don't feel like they really get to the core because if you look at it from the energetic point of view, it always starts in the aura before it manifests in the.
Meow.
You know, that's one of the things that I always
Oh,
see when
kitty!
I know.
that's what I always see in the
everything,
haunted,
cat.
where like for even in hospitals nowadays and in recreation centers, is that when you work with children, you always have pets around with you.
It's one of my
I noticed
spirit
that.
animals, man.
Yeah, in fact, especially cats. In fact, I saw them a lot over in some of the recreation center. Even nowadays, I'm actually volunteering at a hospital, so yeah, that's pretty common
Oh.
now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the psychotherapist had to clean up all those hairballs.
That's funny though, because like you told me that, but I feel like I kind of just picked up on that, like without even. I was like, well, where did hospitals even come into this? But it's interesting that you say that you work there.
Well, that and also
Or
because
volunteer.
so many people that I know of, when they go to hospitals, they never make it out alive.
Are you guys
Well, I
along
don't.
with the anti-modern medicine,
Like
as they
holistic.
call it?
Like, what do you mean by that? Is it a movement?
I can't really trust it.
The modern
It depends.
modern medicine?
Well, Western modern medicine.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm massage therapist and along the lines with the healing practice, I don't believe that there is such thing as, well, we call it Western medicine, and then we call natural medicine alternative. Why is it that we call actual medicine alternative medicine? Because we cannot.
Yeah, because it's really.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but like here's what I learned when I was in medical school. Is that
We have to go back to nature.
yeah, so when you first um, like when you first learn about medicine, is that it's an art that you've been learning for like almost the rest of your life already. So pretty much like when you say that you're learning medicine or actual medicine, you're actually talking about contemporary medicine according to the Western thought only. But there's so many cultures they consider as medicines. It's not just simply like drugs and pills.
Well, like we said before, like Bonnie has said before, and she's like a psychologist minor, would you say?
I have a psych minor. It just means I got to take a lot of fun classes in psychology.
Oh, joy. Yeah. So, I mean, basically, you know, what she said about the pharmaceutical company somehow tampering with the original intention of psychology, which was supposed to be the study of the soul, but now it's about pharmaceuticals.
And then now it's all about pharmaceuticals. That's pretty on par.
It's sad, though.
Yeah, that's what's sad is. But even worse is that here's even worse news: is that religion actually destroyed our sense of what the afterlife should be. You know, especially like Christianity, they never mentioned about reincarnation.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
But like,
anyway, I noticed a Jesus on the upper corner of your room.
right, but like that's not the exact Jesus that existed 2,000 years ago.
But the symbolism of it.
The symbolism of it. That's actually like Caesar Borgia on the wall right there.
Yeah, that's because my mother is actually Catholic.
Yeah, but that's Caesar Borgia on the wall.
Yeah, I know. Well, like that's the question is like.
But it does mention it. I forget the verse. Like, but it's like all these people are asking the Jesus guy. They're like, okay, so some say that you're Paul. Some say that you're a disciple. Some say that you're this, and they ask him like, who do they say I am? And so it does talk about it, reincarnation, but you have to kind of dig for it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, a lot of the biblical verses will talk about things that have been misinterpreted throughout the thousands of years since the book has been written.
Yeah, especially the Gnostics. I mean, you just got to know what you're looking for. I mean, the book can be used. It's just like you have to decode the metaphysics.
Yeah, the milk and the meat.
Yeah, the land of milk and honey.
I think it's in Corinthians it talks about that as far as that he's teaching with milk because they are still yet carnal and not spiritual to understand the meat.
Yeah. But I mean, even that is just one school of thought. You know, I mean.
Oh yeah.
And it still ties back to religions when really, I mean, you can just be like a biologian, where it's like you study all theology, all forms of thought, you know, from all schools of thought, and you know, realize they're all talking about pretty much the same thing.
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
Yeah, but like here's this.
Don't put yourself in a box.
Like
What I
here's the
say.
thing that I don't get when I learned about this one art of dying that I don't know how many of you guys follow Tibetan Buddhism or am I like the only person? But like they have an art what we call poa where your goal is to try to channel the energy from your heart, which is your soul right there, and to try to transfer it up onto the crown of your head. Once you reach that point and you go far beyond. Once you go far beyond that point, you're like pretty much you can take rebirths in whatever dimension that you want to take in.
I mean, they do talk about the land of pineal.
Yeah, that's what we call the pure land over here in Buddhism. It's the pineal land. But like the thing is like how how in the world do you know that you have reached it? Because the thing is you can be doing the same thing over and over, but like in the end you know that you won't be able to reach it because you
That's
didn't
Albert
do it right.
Einstein's quote. You're doing the same thing over and over. You expecting different results. It's insanity.
Yeah.
Right, but like how do you know if you're doing it the right way? Because the thing is any mystery schools can teach you how to do it, but in order to effectively know if to know like if you have reached there, you have to personally have a measuring stick to measure like
You have
how
to
far
experiment.
along the route. The question is
Yeah.
what is that measuring stick?
Yeah, I think like Michael said, you have to experiment. It's a personal thing, and whatever feels right to you.
Like,
Like
you have a hypothesis, and you test, is it possible to talk to fairies? Is it logical? And you test
like-
it, or
like, what
whatever,
are we
your goal is.
towards? But what are we trying to test towards? Because the thing is we can test towards like for example communicating with other beings from higher dimensions and everything. But what happens if we haven't achieved our own happiness? Like, what
I
is the
think
point
that
of
we
talking
hold
about?
a fear unless we have like overcome a fear. Well, like what I'm trying to say is like you're saying, like when you come in contact with other beings, or when you're trying, what is this ascension, or what is this that we're trying to do? Let's see. Never mind. Come back to me in a minute. I'm gonna
No, Bonnie.
It's okay,
I
Bonnie.
think I get what you're saying, Bonnie. It really, our dimension right now on the third is based, well, at least with, let's just say, America, the democracy or slash communism or capitalism that we exist in, our society is based on fear.
Yeah.
So first and
Yeah,
foremost,
so yeah. It's
we are we are born, raised to go to college, uh, get a job, work a 9 to 5, be in debt, and then fear everything around us. So let's escape that altogether, and we'll go places.
That's exactly what it seems like. If we can get over the fear.
False evidence appearing real.
Look, I'm scared every day. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not afraid. But things are changing, and times are changing, and the monetary value that we give to our culture and our society and how we have to keep up with everyone else, it's dissipating, and it will only do this if we all support each other within
Like,
our own time.
Yeah. Like the thing that I understood, and this is something that like I've known, I've known for a while, but what I saw is all these people that so-called, there were people that were successfully happy with abundance, and then there were people that so-called got rich because they continuously worked but all they had was these material possessions, and all they wanted to do is continue buying material possessions. But to me, all I see is a form of insecurity.
Yeah, I agree with you.
In order to prove
I
something.
see this. I see the same thing, Michael.
Hmm.
It's plastic, metal, and rubber, and other elements, of course. But everything that's tangible, that's monetary, it's materialistic, is an illusion. And people that base their life around the illusion are not going to develop the way that maybe all of us on this board right now want to evolve.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's so true. Like if we're just living for money to live, like if that's our sole goal or just to gain money, like we're missing something and it's altering, I think, our life purpose. It's, because we're not fulfilling our life purpose, and instead it kind of eats at us every day,
Yeah, we're filling someone else's life purpose.
Yeah.
So, definitely.
And when
we're
people are
a
watching
part
the
of a culture
television.
that. What'd you say?
No, go ahead.
No, we're part of a culture that's very money-driven, materialistic. Our society is based on what you have. It's not who you are. It's the amount of things that you have. The car you drive, the apartment you live in, or the house you live in. Your 2 children, whatever it might be, that you want in your life. And really, what we have to do is we have to bring ourselves back to our grassroots. And you have to decide within yourself what it is that you want. And if that doesn't mean following societal standards, then you've empowered yourself.
Yeah, it's empowering, but it's kind of hard too.
You can't make you can't live without money, of course.
Is that once you do it, like, then your life purpose, at least for a period of time, at least this is what I'm experiencing in my life right now, it's like now my life purpose is to get my vibration up by taking care of myself so that I can listen enough to figure out what the bigger life purpose is, But it's like right now, like I need to do whatever it takes to keep my
It's all about the life's purpose.
channels clear so that I can, effectively carry out this life purpose that I don't really know exactly what it is yet, but I'm like onto something a little bit. But it takes like having that free time and not having a job for me, not having at least a job that at least, maybe at some point I'll be able to do something, but not the type of job that I was working in, like not what I was doing.
Okay, so Bonnie, you want to raise your vibrational frequency, right?
Yeah, I would say that.
And you went to school for psychology?
No, that was just my minor. I have a degree in applied arts and sciences, which means that we get 3 concentrations. So I'm kind of one of those like all over the place people. So my 3 focuses were behavior analysis, rehabilitation studies, and communications.
Okay.
But I am a Reiki practitioner and I facilitate meditation, and I am trying to get something going that route. I'm trying to put together a 30-day program, 30 days, 30 ways to meditate. I already did kind of a little mini YouTube series on it, but now I'm trying to like actually make a concrete with a ebook compatible.
I love it. We should find me on Facebook.
Totally.
I don't know if my information is. I'm new to this thing, so.
I sent Reiki to a tree today.
That's awesome.
Here's the thing, I want Tony to talk about this, because seriously, he did mention that his father was once in a soldier where he has to go fight. But the thing is if you already have experienced death like that, aren't you supposed to not be scared instead of being more horrified? Because the thing is that's what really scares me off. It's how come soldiers are so prone for post-traumatic stress disorder when death is just not the beginning yet?
Oh, okay.
Right, we were on 2 separate conversations.
Yeah.
You know, Andy, this is
I know, but like seriously, I've been trying to. I try to keep it on target, but like
Keep it
the
on.
thing is but somehow this part about soldiers keeps popping up in my head. I don't know why. It gets really annoying.
Okay, Andy, soldier, you had a past life regression.
Yes, I do.
You've had past life regressions to validate the fact that you were a soldier.
Yes, somewhat. And
Yes.
in fact, to be more exact, I'm actually a general.
General, okay. Um, so you're it's a tricky one because you're living in this life, sort of reminiscing your past life.
That happens though.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
does
it's
happen, but
part
like
of the process.
that's what makes me want to ask. It's like,
Yeah.
where
So-
in the process? Because like the thing is we can learn good and bad things from our past lives. So like, what can we learn from our soldiers, fellow soldiers? You know. Of course, we can learn bravery and all stuff, but we can also learn violence.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, I mean, I've heard things that like and like my life's purpose is pretty much to prevent like nuclear war at all costs. But I've heard positive things that the military is doing, like rebuilding the bioregions, doing things that are not of a war mentality, and channeling their energy into positive pursuits. But like we gotta realize, man, like we can't harm the earth because she's a living entity, a living being, and we have to protect her, help protect her because we're living off of her, and we can't live off of her and then like blow things up. It's contradictory to me.
Yeah, and I feel like when I say like discover my life purpose, like I understand that my life purpose is something to heal and save and just engage our earth in a positive way. But it's like, okay, now how do I feel like, I mean, I think that it's reasonable to want to support myself at the same time. So it's like, how do I do that and support myself so that I'm not like,
Like a chicken with its head
homeless
cut
on the
off.
streets?
Right.
Or,
Well,
I
having to
think
rely
that,
on another person
well, one,
is really what I don't
we
want.
all know that money is abundant and resources are abundant in this world. So, in order to do that, we all have to financially support ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to understand first and foremost that everything
Unless
is
you're a monk.
abundant and we are entitled to everything and anything that we want.
Yeah.
True.
So follow
I'm
your
saying-
life path. Make your money accordingly in order to live within your means, but stay true to who you are, because ultimately at the end you can make as much money as the next person. You can make $1 million a year. You will not be happy unless you're following your path.
Yeah.
But it's
Yes.
abundant and it's there and it's out there for you.
Yeah. I'm finding it. It's coming. It's finding me.
Yeah.
First
No,
off,
I mean that's the whole Buddha story. That was
that's
the whole
why,
Buddha
like,
story.
that's why, Vonnie, like, like, from what you're showing me, if you really, here's what I'd also learned from my past life, is that if you keep attracting so much violence, it will come back at you, you know? Like, that's
Yeah.
what the universe gives back. It's like, it's a mirror of who you are. And, like, the thing is, in your scenario, if you really want to manifest something that you like, then try to manifest the feeling out of it. Imagine.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I mean, I definitely don't have any violence around me, so that's definitely.
Well, it's
I
not.
don't either.
It's not your case. In fact, it's actually my case because the thing is
Yeah,
I
I
actually.
was like, when you were like, in your case, I was about to be like, I don't know about my case.
Yeah, I'm pretty much like a Viking man over here hosting the show, and I was like, I need to, just like how you guys, I help help you guys find your answers. I always need to know mine also because
I
seriously,
know.
it's
Well,
ridiculous.
Andy, you asked me a question about, of course, my dad being a soldier. I guess you can hear me all right.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, what I've noticed, and I've noticed some friends of mine coming back from Iraq, it was what you was talking about them dealing with death. Well, for the most part, and I guess I kind of feel this maybe from a past life, I'm not for sure, but whenever they're over there, they kind of give up on life. They accept themselves as being dead. Now, that once they get to that point, they operate perfectly in that environment, but then once they come back over from there, then they have to try to come back to life. And I've had a friend of mine, he has a son now, and his son is his life. And when my dad come back from Vietnam and he married my mother, his family was his life. Now, I don't think it's cool that you try to live, through other people for your own benefit, but it is a way of reaching back into your heart and finding yourself and the love of society that you lost when you first went into war.
But like that's the thing is like when we know what death really is it does it really matter up to the point that we are living currently, or are we dead? Because the thing is that just because of like
Living dead.
yeah, just like how like when you said
Right.
like your dad came back from Iraq, we had to give up that notion that we are currently living, which is sometimes scary because the thing is what if
Welcome
like
back to the world of the
yeah,
living,
like
my
what if
friend.
we were to sit
Exactly.
back
Yeah,
and
it's like you change your
yeah, like if you
perception from that of being
like for
dead
example, if
to,
you come back from the
perception
war
of
and you
life.
like spend your time to relax or spend your time to retire, those stuff comes back to haunt you, you know?
I think it
The
depends on what you
violence come out of
focus
it.
on.
Because like for example,
It all depends on what you focus on.
some people
Yeah,
I've known
exactly.
like I read some stories of soldiers where they didn't have a war they went to war in Iraq and somehow or in Vietnam and somehow they shot their opponents, killed their opponents, and next thing you know they came back. They feel guilty of doing it, you know.
It was a mistake.
Well,
People are
see,
human.
that's the thing that's crazy because I mean, I have heard this, and I don't want to make it sound like a generalization, but depending on like the branch of the military, like some of the things that they train them is just shoot to kill. So you have to, when you're using that portion of the brain, the reptilian portion of the brain, which only deals with fear and fight or flight, you have to be careful because, I mean, there's innocent people out there that, so you have to be careful.
Yeah, like the thing is when it can be because like that's the thing that I want to bring up is like
You can't just shoot to
the
kill.
thing about the military is that although it is some branch they train you to kill, but we can learn something from the military. Is that the thing is although we are civilians, but what we were taught is that we had to we just feel like we had to live our days like as though there's always a tomorrow. You know, it's almost like as though we had to be hopeful all the time. When in reality, death is just lurking behind us in just a couple seconds. If you stop breathing, for example, you're dead already.
Yep.
There's no time to think about the next day. So what's the point of trying to say that? Like seriously, you can spend your time either instead of like thinking that oh I only have tomorrow, so I'm just going to like don't do anything. Why not think of like finding a way to do something that you really want to do in life? Because you don't know when you die. Like, what do you guys think about
Well,
that?
you
Because
you do
I've
know.
seen.
It depends. You can know.
How do you know?
I mean, there's basically when people incarnate, some people choose like they have a contract that they set up. Matthew talked about something similar like this before, but they have a contract that they set up, and you can choose, basically, and you can ask your higher self like when will be the day that I go back home,
Well, Sounds like as though like this life is like a workforce to me, Michael. Because seriously, it's like once we're done with our contracts, we go home. But like, I mean,
Yeah.
some of us had to reincarnate to go back and do more contracts, and I was like, seriously,
No,
is
no,
that
no, no,
that
no,
much of
no,
a
no, no.
slave?
Hang on. No, what I'm saying is okay, at least for me, I can't speak for everyone else. But like my purpose, I'm sorry. I don't want to come back to this joint. I love Earth. I love this place, but I'm going to do my best to be the best human being that I can be. But after I'm gone, peace. I love Earth, but the people, that's a different story.
Well, let's go around room and introduce ourselves on that. Let's see, what is our contracts on this life? Seriously.
I
My
mean,
contract is with myself.
Your contract is yourself? Like,
Is with
what are you trying
myself.
to do? Yeah, like with yourself, but like, what with yourself for? Like, you already with yourself from the beginning to the end. You can be in Nirvana and still with be yourself.
To experience this life,
Yeah.
and then whatever
yeah,
other
I
life other
mean,
than that, and just I just kind of like you taught, like people say about the higher self, and you have like you want to experience, and you experience, but your past lives might get in the way of the experience of this one. I wrote one time, whenever I think of the infinite possibilities of existence, they're not infinite. I think of myself as one of those possibilities.
Hmm.
Hmm. So what you're showing me is that you're telling me you're going to trying to experience that infinite possibility, like as though you're trying to break down the doors inside of you
Oh,
and
yeah.
experience who you are as a person.
Yeah,
So
kind of like the
I don't know
one.
how many doors did you broke after, like you said you're 44, so that means you have broke through like a lot of doors already. But like, how much more do you have?
Who knows? But I'm ready to find out.
Well, because
Even if
that's the
that's
thing
with
is
him.
like seriously, like how in the world do you know how many doors you broke, or like how can you help yourself break through all the doors at once before like you finally say, okay, I'm done with my contract, so I'm ready to go. Because by that time, like me for example, I actually have a contract, but like my contract isn't for myself or for anyone else, but
When you
it's actually for the children.
when you smile, you're breaking the contract.
Yup. But like I'm actually trying to. I do have a contract, and that contract is my children are the childrens that I work with.
Well, I mean, if that's your life purpose, man, and that's what makes you feel most alive, then you know what I mean. Probe it. You
Yeah,
know.
because the thing is you guys might have noticed is that so many children nowadays is like we're living in a world where we're in a transition here, but like if we're not gonna help our children out, I don't think most of them won't even make it. That's the
Just
thing.
depends. A lot of them are not children, bro.
I know, but
A lot of them are old souls, like recycled.
I know, but like the thing is when you're talking about reincarnation, it's almost like as though you have almost erased every single memory of who you are already. Although you may
Hmm.
have remembered some remnants of yourself, but that's a big, big weakness. Is that if you don't remember who you are and what you came out to be at an early age, then by the time you reincarnate to be a child again, and your parents are imposing their egos on you, you're basically just living off their lives, not yours, and pretty much like you're
Yeah,
screwing
that's
yourself
a
over.
problem, and
That's
that's
a
a
big, big
problem.
problem, and a lot of children right now are at risk for that.
Well, when you go into the concept of the indigo and the crystal children and all that, like that's really why they're so angry is because they won't fall for, uh, you know, the things that are being perpetrated.
Like,
You know.
right, right, but like here's the thing, like
But everybody, you know,
like
that
talk about your experience of working with indigo children or being an indigo, because the thing is so many kids out there, they don't realize they are.
If you don't want to learn something, you don't want to learn it pretty much. Like, that's how I am. If I have no interest in something, don't even try talking to me about it, because I won't pay attention at all.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. I hope
That's why, Matthew, if I were you, if I'm in your school, I'm gonna if you sleep in class, I'll sleep in class with you, so that way I can make fun of the professor.
You're an indigo when you call school a big kid daycare.
me, I call it a prison
Must be an
for
indigo then.
inmates. I feel like I'm an inmate in school more than an actual daycare. You guys are lucky.
I mean, really. I mean, it's just like you're going into brick buildings. Walk in a single file line, please. You know, like seriously, like, what is this?
Learn how to let authority dominate you.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Bonnie? Like, I know you are partly an indigo when I first gaze at you in the eye.
What's the question?
I know what she is
Your
anymore.
experience
She
as
can't be
being an
defined.
indigo, because the thing is when we're talking about like reincarnation, we always try to remember who we are, but somehow when it comes to being an indigo, society really stepped on us. Like, what can we do?
Well, I think, like what we were talking about earlier, we can take care of ourselves and our vibration and stay true to ourselves and our vibration, you know. Work in jobs that complement us instead of things that, you know, are not healthy for us. We can take care of other people, but taking care of ourselves first, I think, is important.
Always self first,
And
then other people.
or else we can't help other people if we don't take care of ourselves. So we're really helping other people by taking care of ourselves. So we don't have to look at it like a selfish thing. Also, I mean, just listen. It's just all about listening. Listening to the source, and keeping that open ear. And the way that I think we can listen is through calming ourselves and finding that inner peace and stillness inside of ourselves. And so just finding a practice, I think, and like sticking with that practice, whether it's Qigong, yoga. I mean, hopefully you do meditation in between all of these things that we're doing.
Well, Qigong is like a standing meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the thing is we do qigong and all those stuff, but like, how does that help us be able to be more in tune with this world that we are living in, that we know for sure that we're not going to get along very well, you know? Like, that's what happens.
That's the purpose is to raise beyond the duality.
You just gotta
start to see the one. No, go ahead, bro.
You just gotta like look past everything you've been told, pretty much, and just like say they tell you to look right here. You just gotta look over everyone's heads to realize what's actually going on.
Oh, so in other words,
Yes.
that means if somebody's they're right in front of your face trying to tell you, like, they're not facing the reality, but they're just facing you and but at the same time they're actually like turning their back against reality. Your goal is to try to jump over their heads.
Pretty much. Like, you have to do this, you have to do this, society says do this, and you're just like, okay. You just kind of like look above them and say, I don't have to do any of that stuff.
Exactly.
You know, that's what really got me.
I can wear a Pokemon shirt and still do good massages.
That's what totally got me so upset about how school, like, I'm not joking. Like, seriously, we are indigo children. We can, we don't have to call ourselves indigos. We just humans. But somehow, we have
They're just
that feeling.
concepts, man.
Well, like, seriously, exactly, they're just concepts, and yet when we were going back to school, we always had to relearn that concept, like as though we're relearning our ABCs. When in reality, we already know that. We have deep inside of our gut that we know that we are familiar with that already. When did society start calling us a bunch of idiots who don't even know anything, and then they try to make us relearn our ABCs every time when we come back to this earth?
Because they want to dumb you down so you
What if
don't
this
realize.
is the thing? What if this is the truth? Society went crazy a long time ago. We're actually the sane ones.
We're so
Totally.
crazy.
Yeah. If you live in a crazy world and they call you crazy, that makes you sane.
Yep. Two
that's
opposites. That's why two opposites it does not create an opposite.
I mean, you gotta. I mean, when you look at it, like I'm just saying, like with Hitler putting the shit in the water, and then the food, and then the chemtrails, and I'm just saying everything you could think of in the book, and yet people, you know, want to make it seem like, oh, okay, you know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or something.
You know, and that's really, that's what really funny about our lives is that every time whenever we go somewhere in our past lives, like for example, we've been through war, we've been through all that. Somehow we feel like we're back in familiar arenas that we have been here for years.
Actually, I wanted it to be Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, though.
But like somehow, every time, whenever, like for example, when I was a Catholic, when I talk about my past life, they were like, "Are you bluffing with me?" I was like, "I'm not bluffing. I actually feel it. I feel myself get injured all the time, but somehow it's there."
Well, one thing I've often wondered is why are past lives important? I recognize and understand that, if you're dealing with yourself on the deeper level, you're still going to be dealing with the same things, even if it was something that happened in a past life. Why is it important what past life it was? It's still you.
Yeah, it is still us, but like the thing is just like what Michael said, is like we all are actually we're actually trying to like bring up something to like for example to be able to reach enlightenment. That's our home. And B, we're trying to, like, just like what you said, we're trying to break down the doors. If we don't remember which door we broke down, we're just basically we're just basically wasting our energy.
Well, I think that
Right. Yep.
kind of a point. Like, I kind of haven't done a lot of past life regression stuff because I kind of feel like I'm not trying to, ignore it. I'm sure that there's something to be learned there, but I guess I'm more concerned with moving forward. And I understand that maybe I could learn some things from my past that could help me move forward, but I still feel like I've centered my energies on kind of living in the present in order, to it's kind of like by living in the
That's
present.
all it's there for.
I've heard that some of your fears come from things that happened in a past life.
Yeah,
That is so
Yeah,
true.
it does.
I mean,
It's
I
crazy.
do think that I had a past life of some kind. I either got thrown off a cliff into water or something like that. I might have been a witch or something, and they might have, because I have a fear of drowning, which is hilarious because I was a competitive swimmer most of my life. But I also have a fear of heights, and so I think I got thrown off a cliff into some water.
Well,
I was gonna tell you, Bonnie. Remember when I was texting you earlier today, and we're talking about anxiety and neurosis and neurotic and all that stuff. Like, I was in the kitchen today and I looked at these chopsticks, and I just read. This is when I was cleaning. And it was in the Shang Dynasty or something, and it said they don't use they don't use knives because knives were something said to be I don't know, they represented a form of aggression or something. And then I looked at it and I'm because that whole thing like I said, when I was doing all this Kundalini yoga and I was doing a lot of stuff. Like I was tapping at the back of my head to like do things to remember my past lives, and it's just crazy when I think about it. When I read that, because you know I had a past life. It's in Shanghai, and
Shanghai, my favorite city. I used to be a gangster over there. Nah, just joking.
and it's just like it makes sense with the whole chopsticks thing. Why I like just I don't know, don't like knives or whatever. I understand their purpose, but like it's just I don't know. It's really interesting that that it just said that, and I never really read chopsticks, the thing on the chopsticks really before.
Huh.
It usually
You
just says
know-
Panda Express or something.
Yeah, you
know?
actually brought up a good point, Michael. Because the thing is I also have a chance to actually find out about myself. Is that I found out that I do have some antisocial behaviors, and I found out that partly is because I do have a past life with being a warrior, but somehow I just sometimes act up.
Wait, Bonnie, can you clarify this? Okay, is there a difference between being antisocial and what they call like a sociopath?
Yes, there's definitely a difference.
Could you clarify?
I'm trying. A sociopath is more like is definitely more extreme than I don't know. Let's Google it exactly, but I definitely know.
Yeah, I
that
actually
antisocial is more like not wanting to engage in social events, but you don't have like depression and all these other side effects that come with being a sociopath. A sociopath, I'm pretty sure that's the one where you can have like multiple different personalities, and so therefore like different traits and characteristics, and be different people at different times. Kind of like you have like
Yeah.
several different people, like several different characters and personalities. The interesting part, and I better Google this before I talk too much about what I'm not 100% sure about, but the interesting part is that even like their writing will change, you know, from like different personality to different personality.
Don't
Well-
sociopaths show like a lack of empathy too?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, Matt.
Well, like here's
Like
the thing.
I used to have
like-
I used to have a friend. No, I just want to say like I used to have a friend, and like he used to like flick this rubber band at me, and I'd be like, "Ow," and he kept doing it. I'd be like, "Stop, that hurts," and then he'd keep doing it, and like it just seemed like he couldn't understand that I was hurting, you know, and he just kept doing it, and I think that is like an example. You know, like you said, lack of empathy.
Well,
That's what I
That's-
always understood it as. But I
Sociopath
might be
might
wrong.
just.
well,
What's it say?
I might have been wrong. I think I was thinking of multiple personality disorder,
well,
but
well, here's what I think of it, because I actually seen several psychopaths in my lives. Is that
Oh, God.
antisocial
psychopath and sociopath are different things too.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
those things are different.
sociopath. Well, psychopath,
Psychopath is
sociopath,
free.
and antisocial, they're part of like one giant spectrum
You're right.
of
They are.
aggressive
Psychopath
behaviors.
is some Michael Myers shit.
Yeah, antisocial, think of those guys as poltergeists in the spiritual realm. They can mess with you, but they can't physically hurt you. A psychopath is equivalent to what we call a succubus. That's although they do sound pretty powerful, but they usually mess around with you. They do turn into crazy stuff. Versus a sociopath, you can see them as real demons. Those guys you don't want to play around with. When you see them, you better run,
I
because
thought it was the
they
psychopath
don't
that
pursue
you
you.
want to play with. I think the
Like-
psychopath is worse than the sociopath.
I don't know. I think they might be the same thing,
Yeah, pretty much.
but
Yeah,
it's
that's
all
the thing.
just words anyway.
True.
That means a psychopath, he's partly cared about you, but like he only cares because of his own purpose. Versus a sociopath, once he gets to a sociopath, he say, "I don't freaking care about you anymore, and I'm just gonna spank you like just like crappy little guys." I treat you like a thing. That's what it is. That's what a demon is.
So where were we going with this?
Well, demon
But like
means
the
genius.
thing is we're trying to figure out regarding like some behaviors from past life is like what can we learn about it? You know, like especially like when we have antisocial behaviors from back in the old days. And it's
Antisocial
very,
is different than sociopath.
but
That's
like
all I'm saying.
That's where it came from.
But like I used to be a sociopathic soldier where I murdered several people, but that's how
it's
I became
different,
so
man.
antisocial. Whenever someone acted up in front of me, you know, I just want
It's
to
a-
wreck.
It's a big difference. A big, big difference. You know, I'm saying if you were like a barbarian like type thing, like you know, in a past life, then you know, I mean, you obviously, you know, either have karma from that or you know you want to heal that, you know, but you're incarnating now is show that you know you evolved from that or learned, you know, from that. Like
Yeah, but
a lot of the
but like
things.
that's what I'm trying to figure out from this concept of the afterlife is that we're trying to figure out how does both good and bad behavior serve us as a person.
I don't think there's good and bad behavior.
There's
Like
just
for example,
behavior.
you hurt someone back in the old days.
There's just
That
behavior.
yeah, they're just behaviors. But you hurt someone back in the old days. You killed people. But like, how can you learn from it? You know, because sometimes
Wait, I didn't do that, bro.
it comes back at you. Like me, right now it's coming
I'll be
back
right
at me right now, and I personally have to admit this is ridiculous. It should be.
You knew for sure you were a barbarian.
Used to be. Just like
Well,
what you said,
I mean, you
Tony.
learn.
Yeah, just like what you said, Tony. Part of being a warrior is that sometimes I had to be sometimes I learned to be a barbarian for a while, but then it's like, what can I get out of it? You know, out of being violent.
There's nothing really you learn. It just depends. If that was the society that you were born into, then I mean, but I mean, it's just wherever you learn that from.
I don't know, Andy. I don't
If
know
you were a
what
barbarian.
what you could possibly get from recognizing the past life of a barbarian or a Viking.
Because like
Not unless
yeah,
it's not unless it's just something that you know maybe you're dealing with today that you dealt with then and never did actually deal with it.
you know
So you know you
that's
just
what
bring it up into the open.
yeah,
Yeah.
just like what you said. Like our goals is your contract is to try to break down the doors of yourself so that way you can reach enlightenment. But the thing is that's part of the door. Is that we also have partly our
Oh, I like
our
that chair, Bonnie.
psychopathic, like our antisocial or psychopathic tendencies. We had to know, like, what can we turn it into so that way it can serve us. Because otherwise,
Yeah,
if
well,
we
I
just,
don't think
if
you
we're
learn
trying to
anything.
shut down the door, we're basically, when we close the door on something that we already opened, then why not just not open it from the first place?
Interesting.
Because seriously, that's like you're wasting your time on just opening the door from the past life, but then next thing you know, you close it just because it doesn't serve you. And
Well, I don't really think that's what I was talking about. I don't really think past lives really serve us, except for the whole fact of validating or bringing into our awareness stuff that we need to work with in ourselves.
Yeah.
When I was talking about the infinite existences and seeing ourselves as one of those existences, that last part was the most important. Because we have to see ourselves as part of that infinite existence, and that means focusing on the now.
Right.
right.
Well, like
Well,
I was saying, like I said, say for example, in my previous life, like I said, working with Sigmund Freud, you know, I could take a psychology class and like I said, like, you know, I know all this stuff. So it serves me in this life if I'm doing work in conjunction with what I'm going to do in this reality.
Yeah, sort of like what they call it, the halls of knowledge or halls of truth or something like that.
Oh,
Where you
like
tap in.
the library, the Akashic
Yeah.
records.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing.
that can serve us to
It can.
experience and to better the experience of others.
Yeah, that library isn't just there just to, you know, just it's information, and we're here to learn.
We're
from
here.
it.
You beat me to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Sorry about that.
That's the funny thing about.
So we're here to learn.
That's what I learned about in Tantric Buddhism is that whenever you, like, it doesn't matter if you did a certain behavior, whether it's good or bad. It's just only information. It's just like, it's almost like a lesson book for you for the next life. But like the reason why I need to ask about like some of those behaviors is because it's so hard to figure out how is it a good lesson, you know?
Well, I mean, everything teaches you, but I mean,
Yeah, like
there's,
for example, like what can we learn about violence that can be able to help better our society or better us as a person? Because we can actually choose to go and commit more violence from the past life, or B, we can choose to do something good out of it.
well,
I'll look
I
throughout
would say
history
that-
and see what. Oh, well, what I was going to say is look throughout history and see what violence begets, and then you come to a realization that violence is really something that is harming yourself on so many different levels, even outside yourself as other existences,
Yes.
since we are interconnected.
Yeah, I really don't think you can learn anything from violence, but that's just me.
Me either. Yeah, I'm the same way.
But like that's the thing is if because the thing is like for example, I actually had that moment where somebody who is actually a veteran of the U.S. Army or several people from the military, they did mention to me that the moment that they learned violence from wars, from how it was treated, they became more sensitive to other people's needs, and they found out the value of like valuing other people's lives over themselves.
Bonnie,
You know?
Hi.
I like that chair, Bonnie.
I know. I just moved it into my room. I was like, this is
Like,
better.
what do
in
you
my
guys think
room.
about that? What do you guys think about that?
I
Like,
couldn't tell if
how
it was a bed
violence-
at first. I was like,
I took
Like
it
for example,
over.
like
I think you're right, Andy. It opens their eyes to what how it actually feels, especially when it's done to them.
yeah. I mean, pain is there for a reason, you know? I mean, you're as sensitive, or you have all these neurons to be able to feel, you know? So when you try to make yourself insensitive or desensitize yourself, you know, you're losing, you know, that's a part of your intelligence, I feel. Hang on one moment. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I heard you.
Michael, you're funny. Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
okay, I'll
see.
be down. Alright. No, I didn't realize I was looking into the camera.
It was more like you were talking into the camera than the camera. Huh.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, like the Native Americans like had such a respect for this land, and you know, like the thing is, they never even if they did hunt animals, they never used it for like a sport or anything.
No.
And to use
never.
it for like a sport is like It's it's just, I think that when we hurt an animal, or when someone hurts an animal, I think they're not looking at it as if, what if they were in the body of the animal? What
Absolutely.
if they were what if they were having all these hormones pumped into them and all this, and then
So yeah,
an animal.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
really sad.
yeah. In fact, if I were to be that animal, I would feel painful. You know, it's
I don't like
ridiculous
having
how,
a tummy ache.
you know, I can just like just imagine this. Like, if you guys are like highly sensitive to people or have a strong sense of empathy, you'll find out that animals that are like, I'll bet you guys also have like those moments where you're all having stomach aches when you found out
I'm
that
out
some
with the
animals
stomach
were
ache, man.
some some of you guys might have like stomach aches or even have that sense of insecurity in that you feel deep inside when you're watching a video of animal cruelty, for example. Uh, they get tied
I'll
up
be right back,
and
though. I'm
get
gonna be.
Oh
killed. I
no.
can just imagine.
Michael's leaving.
Oh.
Well, like seriously, that's what really got me interested about the situation on animal cruelty is because the thing is if we all are once animals, then when to what extent is killing an animal an, is a form of cruelty? Because the thing is, we do have to eat animals to survive sometimes.
Yeah,
Well,
like he was talking about with the Native Americans. Whenever they killed a buffalo, they used every bit of that buffalo. They thanked the brother buffalo for its you're offering to them for their livelihood to continue on. But it was very reverent.
Yeah, and
It
like
wasn't about sport.
that's what really
Ugh.
got me. That's what really got me so like bad of a stomach ache whenever I saw how animals were treated nowadays. Is that either A, you get hunted down like sports. Like if you go to
Mm.
fisheries, you find out a lot of those animals were just raked up from the bottom of the ocean just to be killed off and massive like that. And like we don't give thanks to those animals for what they did. And not only that, we also try to like genetically modify them in such a way that they belong to us so that way they can feed us, which is so disgusting. I mean, like, how in the world can some people survive on that without feeling gross? I know that our goal is to try awake, but how does that gonna help us awake?
I think it's horrible. I'm glad there are, like, I mean, farmers markets and things where you can get meat that, food that, like, this animal was like eating its favorite berry off a tree and like died, by the person, and then they go and sell them at the farmers markets. And like grass-fed meat and stuff is usually like, those cows are taken care of and everything like that. So I don't think that everyone who eats animals or anything like that is like a bad person. Um, but it's a problem. But how do we fix it? That's the question. I don't know.
Because
One thing that I've considered that I guess other people have is whenever you consider these animals' cruelties and the things that they go through, and then they talk about that whole thing, you are what you eat. What kind of energies are you taking into your body from a cow that has, lived its life in misery?
Yeah, I mean, when I eat meat, it's only like meat that's like from a farmer's market. I know exactly where it came from. Um, or like grass-fed, I eat grass-fed butter. They're like Kerrygold grass-fed butter is good for you.
you know what I
Um,
would do? I would actually feed my own cows and everything because the thing is we know that if we know that we're compassionate human beings who will take care of those guys, then most likely the result of you killing them is actually a better karma for you than you spending time eating at the farmer's market sometimes. Because the thing is you don't know what the farmer does to those animals
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it's the same with vegetables you grow in your own garden. You know what they've had on them because you watered them. Maybe even sung to them.
But like yeah, and like while some farmers are good, I can trust them and I can buy from them, but some of them aren't. It's like how can we tell? Or we
So what is the solution?
well like I guess like yeah, we can grow our own market, grow our own food. And once we have to show it to people. The thing is so many local farmers don't have the opportunity to show the people how they grow their food.
Yeah, bring it to the people's consciousness because a lot of people don't even realize what's going on in some of those factories or those mass production areas where they shoot them up with steroids and all that other stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
the solution I think would be to place where people could buy local,
and also
and
another
then you
thing
have
is like, why can't we like yeah like for
I have
how
a
come
farmer's market that does that.
I mean like how come
yeah.
people even like the big from the big markets to even I mean, like to even the locals farm market, like how come they won't let us be able to see how they fed their livestock, for example? That should be the number one priority that I want to know. Because if
Well,
you feed them the wrong way, you're more likely to eat wrong things.
the thing about it is, whenever it's locally grown, more than likely, whenever you purchase it, you're purchasing it from the person who either raised the cattle or the animal
Chicken,
or
anything, yeah.
or anything, and you meet those people, and you can tell by like, no, I don't want to buy nothing from you.
I kind of do judge people like that at the farmer's market. I'm like, I have a better energy towards this person and their
Right.
onions, so I'm gonna get these onions.
Right, and I mean you should be honest with yourself whenever you feel that. I think you might not
Hmm.
be honest with them, like, well, I had already talked to this guy, and I'm gonna go over there because we
Yeah.
already, it's kind of a white lie, but maybe it helps with the energies, or you could just tell them straight out, look, I don't like how you're treating your animals, or I don't like the type of person you seem to or perceive. I perceive you as, so. Maybe if you wanted to sell more of your product, you would work on yourself and possibly how you treat your animals and your crop. Of course, you might get kicked out then.
Yeah, they might be like, okay, thank you. You can leave the farmer's market now.
But if they're like that, why would you want to shop there to begin with?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's sad. It's crazy. I don't know what to say about this topic, but um,
Matt,
Hmm?
you had anything on this, or is it interest you?
No, I don't really have anything on this one.
do some
He's like,
tapping.
no, it don't interest me. I got nothing to say.
Have you guys heard of EFT or just tapping?
Love
Tapping.
it. Oh, sorry, Bonnie. What?
Have you heard of EFT? It stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, but it goes off of the healing modality of like tapping. Tapping's a big thing. There's a bunch of different kinds and ways and styles, and Emotional Freedom Technique is one of them, and it involves like tapping on your body in different places and like the different meridians of your body, and like
Oh,
even
wow.
yeah, and it really is healing. And now when I hear like sad things I don't want to be hearing necessarily or whatever, I it's like I get this like intuitive instinct to start doing the tapping thing because it really does seem to like clear.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
What's up? We're doing some emotional freedom technique tapping.
Where did Andy go?
I don't know.
I don't know. There he is.
Uh,
But yeah, that kind of sounds a little bit like possibly like some sort of a acupressure.
Yeah,
Does
it's
it
a
have
little
anything
different
to do
because
with
you do
that?
it yourself. You just do it to your body.
I'd like to
Um,
learn some emotional tapping.
yeah, well, the person who I learned tapping from is doing right now. I posted it in that group Hangout chat thing, or group thing on Facebook, but she's doing a free month, and she's on week 3 of the free month, but you can still get in on the 3rd and 4th session. It's online.
Hmm.
Also, I'll find the link and post it,
That's interesting.
and you just watch the
Like,
video.
this class that I took, I mean, it's just like I got to learn so much, but I also got to be certified in like all these areas. But we're supposed to get to emotional freedom technique, but uh, we just didn't get to it.
Which class was that?
Zoe, it was a class that like basically I took. It's originally like like around 1,000, but because they knew me like pretty well and I had been on their shows before, they did it for about 500. But I was able to learn. What was the name of it?
Yeah.
Um,
Or was it just like,
it was basically like holistic healing, but I mean there was so much. Like I got certified to be a pranic healer, a Reiki master, Qigong, just like basically I don't know everything you can think of, pretty much with holistic healing. And we didn't really get too much in herbology, but we just run out of time.
mm,
But I learned so much.
how are
But now I can
you? There's a new
incorporate that to my
person.
Reiki sessions.
Yeah, totally.
So I know how to like give people like an aura bath.
Ooh.
I know how to take a water bath.
Oh well,
I got
that's
the
just
hot
on a
bath
whole nother level.
down. Hi, Zoe. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us how you are? How your week was? Sounds like
Are
you
you
don't have a
ready?
microphone.
Zoe 101 was like my favorite show back in the day. Well, first it was Lizzie McGuire, to be real.
You could
It's not
probably
my
still
first
put your
favorite
heads.
show, but
It might be feedback. I don't know. Sometimes we're pretty good on the feedback. You can try it if you want to. Um, but yeah. Well, I guess what I really wanted to come on this chat today and talk about was my dream and how amazing it was because it was all about death, but it was about different perspectives of death. I already told Michael about his dreams, and now Michael, I won't. This is the short version, but basically, I had this. Um, I only had like 2 hours to sleep, and I had set my alarm. And in my dream, I had this angel guide who was like this person that I know who's one of my creativity coaches. So like, and he's a super spiritual dude. And in my dream, he was like the angel, and he was like explaining to me. He was like the guide that was there explaining to me everything that was going on. So I wasn't scared throughout the whole dream, even though if he wouldn't have been there explaining to me what was going on, I'd be like, what is going on? You know. So the fear was gone, and I died in my dream, and I was able to like go to my funeral and like see what that was like, and then in the dream I got to suddenly like have a different perspective where like my brother died, and then like I experienced all that, and that was crazy. But then I experienced life like as if I just got to experience all these different perspectives of death, and it really like made it so that I didn't fear it, you know. And there was even like a part where like I got to talk to my brother like in the afterlife, and we were like conversing about how crazy it was that we were sad that like we were dead or whatever, and it was like this like harmonious afterlife. And I don't know, it was just like this notion that like yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
It was crazy. I can't remember it all anymore.
Your
I did
time
like
is your time.
that
That's
was
what I
that was
remember.
kind of like the long story of it. But yeah, I mean, it's just like being able to put yourself into other people's perspectives and understand that death is just not such a horrible thing that we make it out to be, you know?
Oh no, I mean, and like from what I know, in the time of the Egyptians, what they did, the first things that they taught the younglings, the young kids, like when they're little, the first thing they teach them is death. To have like a near-death experience. So because once they'll know how that's why they call it the Book of the Dead, because once they'll know what death is, living would be so easy. You know, because they would have already experienced, you know, the death. But I don't want people being mopey and sad when I'm gone. I want them to light joints and play guitar and
Right.
like, you know what I mean? I don't
Celebrate
want
your
nobody
life,
sad.
not worry about your death.
Yeah, it may be a cool death too, you know.
I think that's my uncle just passed, and I think that's one thing that really I noticed about the people that was around him is they didn't really think too much about his death. They really celebrated his life and how he lived his dash, so to speak.
Yeah,
It wasn't the
I mean,
first year, it wasn't the last year. It was the dash in between that really counted.
like there's emotions. You know, we are human beings, so there are emotions. But I'm saying not to get focused in the sadness of the death, but more so the celebration of the life of the person. Realize, you know, hopefully they did their best to live the life that they wanted. You know, when I read the Jim Morrison, this was like a channeling from Jim Morrison, not my channelings, but this psychic that saw her, and Jim Morrison said that actually his happiest moment was actually when he died. He didn't like living that rock star lifestyle and things like that.
Yeah, I could see that from Jim Morrison actually, because he didn't want to be made out to be no like sex symbol or anything, or the superstar. He wanted people to hear his words.
Yes, exactly. His poetry was actually
Right.
his love. So this is really interesting.
But you knew Mr. Mojo Rising was actually an anagram, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I figured you would.
Oh yeah.
Especially as much as you like Morrison. I'm the same way. I really like Jim Morrison. I read American Night was one of them.
Mm-hmm. But they really don't have that many band members left.
What was that?
What? What?
Just gonna forget. I don't want to be seen like I was gonna change this to the breath.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, there's not that many band members left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true.
They only have the drummer and the guitarist,
And I
and that's
think
about it. Ray
that's
Manzarek passed last year.
I think that's something else that people do with the Doors is they just focus on Jim Morrison, and you know a lot of the other band members had their own things to offer as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, most people just focus on Jim Morrison. But the truth is, the whole band that's what makes it a band.
Yup.
Do you have anything to say, Bonnie?
Not exactly. I was gonna go to Andy's write-up that he said about what we were talking tonight, because I remember he had something good on there, or something that was interesting, and I want to ask about it, whatever it might be.
I'm surprised you saw Andy before you saw me.
I was a little surprised too. It just kind of happened because he had all this meditation research, and we were like both like, "Hey, let's do it. Let's study some meditation research." And he brought over his hard drive and tried to put it all on my computer, and then it broke, and now I ended up with a new computer out of it, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's true, Zoe. What you wrote over there on the side, I do understand. I agree with that. Yeah, we do celebrate their life, but at the same time, you know, we do respect that they passed on too, and keep them in our memories.
Oh, yeah, man.
Keep them in your memories and everything like that. But when you like hold on, there's almost like a holding on that's too much. And that's another thing that was revealed to me in my dream. Was that like
It almost drags them to earth.
at one point in my dream, like my little brother came back to me, and he's like, "So now don't you understand? Like we got to communicate after both having gone through these funerals, and we were like, you know, talking. And at this point, I was still alive in my dream, but he had died, and he's coming back, and he's like, can't you understand that, like, you, like, mourning over me is, like, making it harder for me to get on to the rest of the things that I'm doing because I'm, like, worried about you, and I'm coming down here to make sure that you're okay because you're worried that I'm not okay. Like, can we just be okay? You know, and so, like, I think that we can still love those people and we can still have love for them in our hearts, but there's some kind of difference between holding love for them and like mourning and holding this like sadness and holding regret and holding, you know, all these natural things that tend to come up when someone dies, is like, you know, preventing them from getting to where they gotta go, you know. Let's see.
I think it comes from a lack of understanding.
I think mourning actually, at least in my own perception, I think mourning is just basically exactly that. It's a letting go. You're used to this person's energy around, and then it no longer is. It's almost like a withdrawal. But at the same time, you got to celebrate their life and the memories that you know, you don't dwell on, oh, I wish they were still here, but you dwell on what they did when they were, you know, and you remember, when you remember that stuff, you know, you think about, yeah, you know, they rock, you know, they was a cool person. And, you know, you build up from that. And maybe they do feel that instead of the mourning. It's like, look, don't worry about me, I'm fine. Just think about the good things I did. Or the lessons that I learned.
Yeah, like, I mean, I would try to say, like, more so, like, tears of joy. Like, tears of joy instead of this hoping, you know, this mourning.
Right.
Is like, realize that, like, the same thing will happen, well, you know, I mean, I guess unless you practice Qigong, you know, so much, and you live till you're like, you know, 200 or 500 or whatever. But, you know, everybody will have their time to go back home. And it benefits the people living because, yeah.
I think that what our soul learns here on Earth is like so great to our soul that it's like we're learning lessons that we can take with us in the afterlife, and whatever our soul is supposed to learn here on Earth, it's going to. And so let's see, what was the point of that? Yeah. Oh, I also think a friend told me this once, and I'm not sure where he got it from, but I liked it, and it resonated with me, and it was that, and I think I've told some of you this already, but we have like, there's a waiting list to get to Earth because of like all the things that our soul can learn here, and basically bring with us to this other place, and so.
There's a waiting list.
So take your life seriously. Like do what makes you happy. Live the life you came here to live. Learn things you came here to learn. Because we might have waited to get here a while. We're finally here. We're finally doing it. It might be a while till we come back. Who knows?
It might not be a waiting list as far as what we understand as time, but it could be like several stages or what is the word I'm looking for? Happenings or existences or circumstances that has to happen before we can go in and do what we're wanting to do, and all of that is in that chain of that lifetime or whatever tree that you make it out to be.
Yeah. Let's see.
I mean, life is but a dream.
So yeah, I think whenever you go and you experience it because you want to experience it, at the same time, being a light worker, you also, you try to make that experience better, not only for yourself but others.
What the thing I understood though is that like we think that like everybody could like this, that they have this mission to heal the earth, to help the earth, and the thing is, it's crazy to think, but not everybody is like that.
That's true. Yeah. That's why there's some people that I believe that they just experience, and then there's some that are strong enough to actually better that experience not only for themselves but others. But some people just need to experience, and they're not necessarily here to heal until you wake them up to that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said with the whole hunting thing, I mean, if people were experiencing this life as the deer, or whichever animal they're choosing to attack, or whatever, and they're using it as a sport, and not really for food, I mean, just to think about that. Think about how insensitive you have to be to do something for a sport.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I don't just do that with animals, but people too. Put myself into their perspective and see what they're seeing, or try to, put myself in their shoes and see if I can understand why they're in that situation or why they view me a certain way. Like if they're upset at me, and then I can better approach the situation more informed. Instead of just seeing one side of it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel that's something that we definitely need. Like, nothing can be one-sided.
And that includes hunting. You put yourself in the deer's place. What did it do to you? Do you really have to kill that deer? Are you going to not die if you don't ask that brother deer to offer itself so that you can continue to live? You know, and do you not thank and respect that deer for doing that for you?
Exactly.
But
Like,
yeah, people had that. I'll go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was just saying, people, like you said earlier, if people had that mindset, there would be a lot more respect, you know, for this living entity, that, you know, the living world and the creatures upon it and outside of this world as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, supposedly, what they say, the eyes is the window to the soul. Now, you'll see people that have this deep connection with the dogs. You know, they have the deep connection with their cats. But when it comes to something like a cow or, you know, a lamb, you know,
I had one with my pig.
There you go.
even a pig.
I used to have a pig. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I had a conversation with this guy before, and I couldn't believe the things he was saying, but he's like, yeah, I raise pigs and all that, and like, he was like, and I was like, pigs are known to be one of the most intelligent animals. You know, I mean, besides dolphins and other animals. And he's like, yeah, I saw some, you know, I've seen some pretty stupid pigs. And just to say something like that.
Right, but at the same time, I've seen some pretty stupid people too. You know, you can't just blame it on an animal whenever it's something that, you know, it's everywhere.
Maybe the thing is you don't understand the animal's purpose and what is supposed to do. Maybe it's not supposed to intellectualize everything.
Right.
You know. Maybe that's not its purpose.
Like maybe a dog's purpose is just to, you know, be loved.
Exactly. And just to honor and respect that.
Right.
Without hurting all the love and all the things that usually these animals tend to give to humanity.
I think a lot of people miss that. They's like, oh, it's just a dumb animal. It's like, look, it's not just a dumb animal.
You know, guys, that's what makes me have to ask about how, like, for example,
it has a purpose. Go ahead, Andy.
exactly, Tony. In fact, that's the thing. When I look over my journey on living on this earth, and I don't know about you guys, but do you guys ever sense that in this universe, somehow I feel like the earth is almost like a college or a university to all of us? You ever notice that?
I can see that.
Because look at how much possibility that we can learn out of just living here on Earth. And I personally been living here on Earth for like I don't know how many years already, but like I feel like I'm like a PhD guy over here. I'm not joking because seriously, it was so much things that I can just learn from like A being human, B being an animal, or C just as long as I'm here on this Earth, you know. But like somehow I feel like yeah, but somehow I feel like when we as humans, like when you guys came in, is like some of you guys are like a little overwhelmed. Like, I mean, what are you so overwhelmed about?
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, like when you take rebirth here in this earth.
Well, see, I think the thing is just to understand, like, why do we keep coming back here, you know? And not saying that, you know, I mean, we're here for a purpose, but I'm just saying to continuously come back. There's a reason.
To learn
you know,
faster.
To learn. To learn faster, exactly.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of acceleration going on here.
Like for example, you guys like what I noticed is you guys are already if you guys think about it, you have been living here on the earth for like centuries already, and and like from from what you
That
guys
yawn.
show me, we're all like a bunch of doctors here. Seriously, just studying out of college. I wonder what.
Yeah, I mean, if
I mean,
if
like,
you
how come you're
if
still
you
here?
compared, I was gonna say like if you compared like if you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Okay, Bonnie. I mean, Bonnie has been to college, but I mean, I'm saying if you put all these say PhD people, and then you put us in a group, and you like compare, it's just like you either might not be able to tell the difference, or you realize that one may use bigger terminology, or one may, they may just be intellectual junkies, but you wouldn't be able to tell unless you ask the person, hey, where did you get this, where did you study, what did you major in, blah, blah, blah.
Well, that's just a piece of paper anyway.
But like, that's the thing.
Exactly.
Exactly, and in fact, that's the thing about our lives right now is that most people they don't get us, but like when they look at us, they say there's something different about you, and that you you look so honorable to me. They notice it.
And you know what you say to that? It's because
I'm
I'm
a very,
awesome.
I'm a very honorable man.
Like
Very honorable man.
they always say that when they meet people like us, they feel like we're so honorable that we shouldn't be messed around with. But like somehow they feel like we're still here and that we don't and that what they're doing is not helping us. Like especially like whenever you come to the helping professionals like psychologists or any of that, people are like, you don't look like any of the things that I describe on the DSM, and it's like, no duh. Do you believe that I am one of your kind? You know?
Time for Teletubbies.
Like
No, what are you saying, Andy?
like I want to ask you guys like how in the world do you deal with like those like youngsters who young souls who are like trying to get at people like us, because the thing is we're talking graduate level stuff to earthlings that have no idea what we're talking about.
Me, integrity, truth, and perseverance. Like I had a friend of mine the other night that was coming over and talking about, oh, they had this friend of theirs. I guess it goes back to the animals that paid $12,000 to go to Africa and shoot a lion. I was like, what'd that lion do to you? You know?
No.
I was like, to me, it'd take more of a man to go over there and get within 20 yards and take a picture than to shoot it with a
Oh, yeah.
or more of a person, not to be sexist.
Yeah, like
I
exactly.
mean,
I mean
yeah,
like
like
yeah, I mean like when did we
we're being
estimate
able to develop these gifts. There are people that they call animal communicators, which they can actually, like, either because I think animals are more telepathic. And what if that was the whole thing? The thing is, they were intelligent all the time. They were just at a level of intelligence where either it comes out as a meow or a growl or a ruff, but their main communication is telepathy. And otherwise, they don't want to bullshit you. They don't need to waste time trying to use all these fancy words. They can just say what they say with their mind.
Right.
you know
Well, it
you
was
know
kind of. Oh, sorry, Andy. I was just gonna go back to what you were saying, actually, because when I was talking about those guys, that guy that done that, I could have, if I absolutely just didn't want to make waves or, make a passive part of that whole situation instead of standing up for that lion. I could have said, "Oh, wow, that's cool," and moved on. But you have to stand up. You have to stand up for what you believe is right and tell these people.
Yeah.
You know, that's what really annoys me the most is like how so many humans out there is that no matter how many times that we as those so-called PhD guys or graduates, we try to like show them that there's another way to do it. Some of them are not willing to do it, you know?
But if you could talk to the animals, tell me, would that change your level of perception or the intelligence of an animal? If you could hear or they speak to you, maybe not, I mean, they speak to you telepathically. How much of a great compassion would you have for these animals that people are just hunting and, hurting? They obviously can't hear what the animals are saying.
Well, that is exactly what I mean. Is that so many times is that we're just hurting animals that we just don't understand. And it's like that back in the old days where we segregate between blacks and whites. It doesn't make any sense. They're just different in colors. We are just different in cognitive abilities from the animals. We're almost no
Mhm.
difference. When did we become? When did we start thinking that we're more privileged?
Now, to be totally honest, there would be some people that wouldn't care. That they would still, they do it to humans, So if an animal was speaking, they wouldn't think twice about it. But then there would be some people that would wake up to the idea of, oh yeah, this animal feels, it thinks.
I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing. That's the reason why people do these things. I mean, honestly, man. I mean, I'm at a point uh, like, I mean, there was a roach in my house the other day, and instead of freaking out like I usually do, I still freaked out because they kick me out, man. I don't care how many times anonymous say that thing creeps
What
me
freaks you out?
out. The roach.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I
Oh.
put my hands in a prayer position, and I, like I was talking to it, but I was more so talking to kind of the insect realm, and I was just like, okay, like I'm doing my best to shed the love and light. I really don't want to smash you, but just please, either get out of here, go outside, or do whatever, to bring about peace. And I'm
don't
honestly
get
at a point, I mean, even flies, like, even though they can be assholes, but, like, I'm learning to tolerate them.
yeah. Russell Brand said something
So I'm
about that.
at
It's
a
like
place
even a fly,
now,
it's
man, I guess we
going
call,
its
like, the
journey.
himsa.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's what surprised me a lot about how some gifted children or indigos like us is that some of us are scared of roaches. You know, even I'm scared of roaches whenever I see one. It's
Yeah,
like
I mean,
I always try to tell that roach. You
I
know,
don't think it really matters
I
how much of a
I
light
don't.
worker you are
Yeah,
to a roach.
it's almost like as though I'm trying to tell them that, dude, this is not your house. You shouldn't be here. And then it's like it trying to runs away from me. I mean, like, what are you trying to run away from? You're just running away from a human who is just bigger in size than you. But like, am I really that scary? Seriously.
I'm sorry, but, like, I don't know. There's just something about them that just, like, creeps me the hell out.
Well, they're
Like,
very disrespectful.
and I do my best to, like, learn, and I have learned certain things that, to me, the roach helps us understand our ego, because when I try to walk, I didn't even want to walk in the kitchen with that thing roaming around, and I noticed the same feeling, like, if there's something, like, say, that I'm supposed to do or something, but I second guess myself and I'm not really sure, and it's an uncomfortable feeling. Now, it was a great degree with that roach in the kitchen, but It just, there are things that, you know, it can teach us, but I'm sorry, like, about them.
One
They
thing
creep me
that-
the hell out.
They do me too, man. But yeah,
Man or woman, they creep it. Yeah.
I had a situation earlier today that I dealt with, you know, where a wasp flew into the house, and you could see it just slamming up against the sliding door window. So I just went over there and opened up the door and opened up the screen and kind of directed it, and it flew right on out. Then I closed the door. You know,
I think that's better.
it's trying to get out.
I think it's better to do that than like to. I really don't like to smash things. I mean, like,
I couldn't even kill an ant the other day when I realized an ant was crawling on me, and I was like, "Hey, little ant, let's go over here."
yeah.
I was like laughing at myself because it was like
Just flick it off.
It wasn't like a fire ant. It wasn't hurting me. It was just like a little like fruit ant or something. I don't know. But
But I mean, we can raise our hand. We've all destroyed an insect
We all-
before, right?
have trouble hurting other things. Well, yeah.
We've all
I have respect
accidentally
for
or
all living things.
we've destroyed an insect though before,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Yeah. I
But
try not to.
I'm. It's just like the way I look at things now is just so profound that I'm just like, even if there's a fly in the house, I'm like, as long as that's just not landing on my food, like I could put some earplugs or something, even as annoying as that sound is, like, you know, I'd rather go outside, but like, now mosquitoes, I'm sorry, they invade my personal space. So mosquitoes, that's another story.
Well,
I
they
don't
suck
care
on
what the
your
Dalai Lama said about the mosquito and have compassion for the mosquito and give some blood. Nah. So mosquitoes and roaches are where I'm like peace, love, and light, but
Stick to your own area.
yeah. Stick to your own area.
Oh my god. You
But
know,
mosquitoes do the most annoying thing with this buzzing in the ear, man. I hate it. Like,
I don't use the H word.
oh.
That doesn't mean you don't have to use the H word. I just figured I'd bring the H word to your awareness.
Dislike
Oh,
it.
the H word. Okay. I dislike it. But like they make this like the most like high pitched noise in your ear, and it's the sound that just makes me want to go like. I'm sorry.
I guess Andy's having problems with his mic or something, or his computer.
Well, I think around this time is like where he's not trying to make a lot of noise. Like he came in here one time and
Oh, yeah.
he was like, I think you may have been here. He's like, I'm just joking around, Andy, but he's just like, Bonnie, you know, if you really want to talk to me, like, and he was tired, so it just sounded so.
Yeah, what did he say? I don't remember. It was something funny though.
Like Bonnie was, like she was just talking, you know, regularly, and like I think she was like about done, and then Andy just came in here and was just like, well, yeah, that's the thing, but then he came in later, and he was like, you know, Bonnie, like if you really want to come see me, like.
Oh yeah, and he was like in his bed, and I was
It's okay.
like, I don't know about that.
Awkward.
Well, he sounded so loud on the microphone too.
And he was trying to
just
whisper,
hear
and
the-
he's like, ah. It's pretty funny business.
Kind of breathy.
I was thinking,
Yeah.
we could even do one of these, like me and Andy and Michael all live in the same town. Like, we could be in real life chatting. It wouldn't be as comfortable maybe as our home. But
Y'all live
Your
in
house
Austin.
looks comfortable.
my house is comfy. My room's pretty comfy. I got my room.
Like, I mean, like my room, I mean, you just pretty much have to like sit on the bed or sit on the floor. Like, and it's hot as hell.
I know. Why is it so
So,
hot? Are you on upstairs? Are you on like a
yeah,
different... Dude, I can't.
I'm upstairs.
Texas heat is not.
Ugh.
And I don't want to go downstairs because, like, the thing is like everybody's got to leave the lights on, because if you turn the lights off and you decide to go upstairs and you're just like, I want to go downstairs for a midnight snack, and you go and turn that light on, you will see something crawl.
What
And
a roach?
usually,
Mm.
and that's why I'm just like, okay, just leave the light on, and we'll be good. Turn the lights off when you come up and close all the doors.
So yeah, from
But
what
I don't
you
know,
guys
some.
say,
Oh,
yeah,
go
from
ahead,
what you
Ian.
guys talking about, like about some of the life stories that you guys have and the experience with dreaming and everything, I believe like from this conversation we can actually learn basically just like just like every other form of psychoanalysis, we're just coming back to understanding who we are and knowing why we came here and what we're supposed to do.
Why do we
So,
keep going back to psychoanalysis? I'm just
well, the
wondering.
thing is personally, I keep seeing this over and over. Like, there's a parallel between those who go searching for their past life versus psychoanalysis. Sigmund Freud does that all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of? Have you ever heard Winona Ryder's definition of psychotherapy?
Well, it's somewhat similar to what we call
I'm not sure.
Well, what she says. I'm sorry, Andy. I'll go ahead and finish real quick. What she says is that psychotherapy is like you're doing a character sketch for a movie, but the character is you and the movie is life.
Oh, wow.
Well, that is exactly what we're trying to do here. Is like, the thing is we're
I gotta hear that again, man. Like,
yeah, the thing is about reincarnation is that our goal is to just try to achieve knowing who we are, get insights of what we came here to do, and from how we learn about animal cruelties and violence, we can actually learn from those lessons.
you know what I've noticed though, is
Yeah.
that this is more like a support group.
I know.
Really
It's actually more
Yeah.
I'm like over here, and I'm like,
no, like seriously, this is more
it
than
really
just
is
a support group.
I thought about that a while back. I was like, here's my
No, like seriously,
support
this is
group.
more than just a support group, guys. In fact, that's why I'm opening the doors for everyone. It's because so many people go to reincarnations, trying to find out who they are and all this stuff. It's ridiculous how like some of us came to this world knowing nothing about ourselves, and then we were labeled all sorts of crap, and then after that we became nothing more than drones, you know? The thing is, and now, this is like after the show, although the party, like, the chat is over, but the party is not over yet. I want the audience to be able to, like, spend some time to talk about what can you do about reincarnation? What can you learn from it? And like put it on our YouTube channel. Like
I think it's really.
yeah, like
No, go ahead.
here's the thing. For those of you who are checking out my channel, just look down to the YouTube comments below, and comment about what can you learn about it, about reincarnation, because the thing is we can learn a lot of stuff, but when we have a group of people knowing things together, we can actually progress a lot faster and get ourselves out of here quicker. So, for now we're gonna have to end the chat, but
I
let us know.
didn't realize we were still live.
Yeah, but like the
I
thing
didn't
is,
either.
but like here's the thing, guys. Like, if we were to find a way in which we can create a support group where everyone can be able to learn together
Rex!
and then be able to master the art of knowing ourselves, we can actually get ourselves out of here quicker.
True.
Maybe we're not trying to get out of here.
I mean, I think the thing, like, the Egyptians, like, it's interesting when you look at the hieroglyphs, because you never see, like, a hieroglyph about, like, diet or, like, healthcare or what Obama's going to do, or all the hieroglyphs kind of, like, point to a higher understanding, or, you know, ascending from the earth, or, you know, you never see this in the hieroglyphs.
You don't see what?